Camera rolling. I better stay on. Tell us who you are and where you're from.
Jarrod, Tilinghast, Providence, Rhode Island.
Tell us a little bit about growing up in Providence, Rhode Island.
A lot of action. There's always something happening. Growing up in Providence, there's always something going on. Obviously, it depends on. There was different neighborhoods in Providence. Right there. Am I good?
Right.
All right. Yeah, there's different neighborhoods in Providence. Federal Hills, Silver Lake, South Side. So there's so much going on, and I kind of was connected to a little bit of all of Providence growing up.
What decade did you come up in?
Well, I would say the 80s, 90s. 84, I was breakdancing at the Michael Jackson lookalike at the Civic Center. There was a place was sold out. It was crazy. We had all the crews there from all over. I was breaking with Nasty Boys Creation, NBC. Anthony Jarrod, Bobby Jarrod, Leo, Mo, Spike, Telesio. We had a crew. We used to practice up in North Providence. I was 10 years old. I was this big, and I missed like 2 seasons of Little League because we used to practice on Middle Spring Avenue and put our routines together. And then we would be in Club Promenade, Barry's in the 80s. I was 10 years old. I used to go into Barry's every 11 o'clock. We'd come out and put a breakdancing show on, go in the back of in the locker room, and I'd be there. 10 years old, I was out there. So I was clubbing at 10 years old in the spots,
Because you were dancing.
because of me breakdancing. And my cousins know who, my cousin Joanne, she was out with Laurie, and they were tearing up Rhode Island. So they hooked up with Anthony Jarrod. Anthony's my brother. He's nuts. I love him. So, and then they took me down the promenade one night. It was late. It was like 11 o'clock. I remember I wore my parachute pants. I got there. I went up on stage. I started doing head spins. It was good. And from that point on, I was already living the life. Yeah.
Would you say that breakdancing and dancing was one of your early interests? Tell us what you think about way back, as young as you can remember. What's the first things that interest you?
The sports. It was the from like 8 years old. I used to need to hit something, and the physical part of me was always. I wanted to just, I needed. Put it this way: growing up, it was about the competition, not physical competition, and so I always thought I could run through a wall if I ran hard enough and come out of the other side. Like I needed that in my life in those days. And I got it through football, baseball, and different sports and athletics, but it's part of the reason why, sports kind of really helped me along the way. Not only playing multiple different sports, but I was always supported by people throughout the different organizations who would pick me up. I'd spend a week at this house, spend a week here, and I would be like a gypsy, but I was all over the place. I was a little bit of everywhere.
So we know you boxed, right? Most people watching this know that you're a former fighter. So just briefly, what was your record? When did you retire? Just so you can touch upon your career and talk about it for a minute.
I had a good amateur career. I came out of the box. When I first started fighting, I was, I was vain because, obviously, right? When you're handsome, you don't want to get beat up. So I didn't want to walk around with my nose hanging off my face. Who cares if I won a trophy? I don't care. I don't want to get hit. So I kind of jumped on a surfboard, and I kind of rode the wave, and I said to myself, I'll give it a run. let's see what happens. And if I fall off the surfboard and I'm getting hit, I'm done. I'll just put my, it was like a one-time thing. I was like a trial run because I was getting a lot of fights on the street. So I started boxing, and it took me where I won a bunch of Golden Gloves and undefeated professional. And then, you get married, and you know how that works. But boxing definitely came at a crucial time in my life. It was like God just kind of put me in place in different places, and
What was going on before you got into boxing?
I was coming up. I was still playing football. I was still playing baseball. I was still connected to all the sports, but thank God, because of the downtime, I was out in the block with the guys and
Doing what?
stupid stuff like calling the cops on ourselves and getting chased for no reason at all. Like, we'd be like, "What do you want to do tonight? Let's get chased." All right, we'd go up the street. This is a true story. We'd go up the street to Jarrod's house, and he lived on Laban Street, right on the corner, like right near Vinny Paz's gym. And we'd go to Jarrod's house, and we'd call the cops on ourselves. And we'd say, "There's a bunch of kids at the corner of Laura Hill and Plainfield throwing rocks at cars and swearing at everybody. There's a group of them." Next thing you know, here comes paddy wagons. They're pulling up on us, and we're giving them the finger and running through the yards and yeah. So we did that. If it was snowing, we'd hooky around the whole neighborhood. We'd jump on cars with gloves on. Socks.
You ever get into any serious trouble as a kid?
Nah, one of the most important things that define people are some of the traits that they have. And I never stole. I wouldn't go in a store, and I just wasn't big on being a thief. It didn't sit right with me. I just kind of got in a lot of fights. I was, I like that contact. I like that.
Yeah.
So.
Like to fight.
Yeah. And then if a couple of drinks later and you don't remember who's what, how, and young. You're going through it, man. The storms, when you're young and you're coming up on your own, basically, and you're trying to navigate. And, alcohol is the devil's juice. So, yeah.
Do you want to talk about your family at all?
But I'll talk about whatever. I'm open.
Just again, we're gonna get. I want to get back to the point of you getting married. I want to get to that point.
Yeah.
Talk about that, but before we get there, you can just paint the picture of what your upbringing was like, and your parents, and talk about.
Yeah, it was it was most of my life. My dad was in prison, so I really didn't have a childhood memory with him. Basically, like, he remembered some stories like when I was little, but I didn't really remember them too much. So it was just really mom and us growing up, and you got to remember that lifestyle back then. It was cowboys and Indians, and Dad had rescued my mom in a situation, and now he's up there, and now she's alone with 4 kids, and so it was tough, to say the least. There was a lot of storms, a lot of Category 5 storms. During those, that's where, like, when you get to where you are today and you look back at the storms then, in that moment, it's tough to hang in there because it's easy just to tap out. There was a lot of times I was in the basement and I just didn't want to be here, and but I didn't have that kind of guts to I knew God built me different, though. I knew it. Like, I knew he was with me. He gave me, like, even when I didn't know. Now when I look back, like all the those situations, if you can just kind of get through them, right, the sun shines again. You know, the storms are gonna come. That's life. You know.
So did you feel like that while you were young and your pops was in prison? You felt you had these tough times?
Oh, of course, it was in, you know, dad's away. He don't know what goes on at home. There was a lot of pain growing up, and that pain depends on who you are. Some people will go and get on opiates and kill themselves that way. Some people will go into a depression, and it depends on what you are, what's inside of you. That's going to determine what you do with that type of environment. Because let's face it, there's a million other people that come from worse than anything I can ever dream of, and anything you can ever dream of, and anything anybody else can ever dream of, and they still persevere. And you know, the one thing that I'm not, and I never was, and I never will be, is a victim. Things don't happen to me, they happen for me. You understand? There's no victim, there's no, you know, I was talking to a kid today, and kid says, I'm talking about the Bible study I do at the gym, and send them an invite, because anybody that comes in this world that we live in today with everybody drinking the Kool-Aid, I invited him to the Bible study, and you know, I started talking a little bit, and he's, you know, I'm mad at God. I said, you're mad at God? Oh, really? That's interesting. And you know, I started getting into the victim card. Like, you're mad at God. You're so mad at God that he's probably sent you 75 blessings from that point till now, and it's walking right in your face and hitting you in the face, but you ain't looking for it. So if you ain't looking for it because your thoughts are still angry, you're never gonna see the blessings that will come to you, because your mind is already set. You gotta change the way you think, and that will change the way you feel. But if I'm tapped into something obsessively, like parents and like certain, you know, sometimes people, even parents do it, moms, they stick a fork in their child like the child belongs to them. Like it's their property. They're gonna leave one day too, guess what? You don't own anyone. They're gonna go too one day. They're their own person, they're free. But, you know, as they're young, they're coming up kids, and they're being controlled. It's mental. It's mental, and that's because of the way people think.
So, on this, how do you feel the world is different today than in your childhood and your teenage years?
Scandals, secrets, lies. It's so easy to get away with it now. It's so easy. There's so many ways. It's the system is designed now to be that person, to slide, they put temptation in their face with everything. It doesn't matter how you know, Facebook and all these social media platforms. How many marriages do you think they broke up? How many private inbox messages does an account get? How many? And not only the social media, but you could send messages to apps. It's just the world is different today, and it's scandalous. You know, you typed it. I type in. Somebody told me to type in pregnant on my phone and see what comes up. I typed in pregnant, and the female mom came up, and the male dad came up with a belly.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know how I feel about it. It's not human. It's not reality. It's not reality. Do you see what I'm telling? It's not reality. Like, what will I don't listen. like religion, like politics. I don't have a horse in that race. That's division. Groups, BLM, this group, that group. It's division. It separates people. I'm not in the separation business. I'm in the bringing people together business. That's what I'm in. His commandments.
And what are you doing now to put that into practice? What's some of the things that you do?
I think the hardest thing in the world to do is to go through it yourself. Go through it yourself. Like really might be in a bad place, might have things going on at this moment in life, and you go through it. But there's so many other people that depend on me that I don't have time to get in a hole and start worrying about my issues or my problems. I don't have time for it because I have too many people I got to be accountable for. You know, so for me, it's important that I stay centered with the stuff that I'm getting hit with too, so I can be good for everybody around me. If people are walking by my gym and the guy's head's down, I come outside and pull him in. What's the matter? Oh, find out he wanted to kill himself. Now I'm not gonna let him go home. Now he's with me and the family over here. And it's like, the gym is like a sanctuary for everybody. It's open to everybody. I do a Bible study in there, 8 to 9 a.m. every Saturday. It's open to the public. People can come in and come and join us.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's just because it's not because it's not who I am. It's what I am. It's what it is.
You said you need to stay centered with the stuff that's hitting you, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the things that have hit you recently in recent years.
You got Dad's passing recently. You got, divorces happening, and it is what it is. It's part of life. That's part of life. That's the way it is. Two beautiful babies conceived in love. That's really all that matters, important. But since then, it hasn't been easy for me. I never thought getting married would be such a problem to even exist, and tried to just kind of navigate. It's not easy.
How are you dealing with it?
I'm not leaning on my own understanding. I am not leaning on my own understanding. I have solid people in my life. I have Templar Knights with me, my brothers, Todd and Ryan, and I have so many, there's so many people in my life that I keep with me like this every day. That's where I get my reminders and my strengths to a lot of people in life, Anthony, everybody thinks life's a 40-yard dash, and there's a big pot of gold at the end of 40 yards, right? Everybody's gonna run for anybody. You get a guy out of shape, 400 pounds, he's gonna run 40 yards because he thinks there's a pot of gold at the end. Anybody will do it. Everybody will try to get the 40 yards. What happens is they get to the 40 yards and they look at the line judge and he points up this way and he says, the finish line is up there. And when you look, it's just a hill. And you don't even see a finish line. Most people are just gonna run off to the side and say, I'm all set. It's the people that are gonna say, let's go, and get up the hill. The finish line might be right at the top of the hill. It might be, who knows where it is, but go after it.
Most people quit before they
Most people quit. They just, listen, you if you think you can, you're probably right. If you think you can't, you're probably right. I stopped I stopped drinking 6 years ago because I was very simple, said, all right, it's not serving me. And I was going in a different direction in my life anyway, and I started cleaning up everything. But I go to a meeting and with my cousin, and in the meeting, I'm like listening, and hi, I'm Bob, I'm an alcoholic. I'm like, ouch. It's like that. I don't know, it works for people. I'm not, this is just my own observation that works for Jarrod. Whatever works for everybody, that's what works for them, and I encourage it. But what works for me and what don't work for me, I heard it again. Hi, I'm Bill. I'm an alcoholic. I was like, yeah. It's like, cuz I gotta go. I'm not gonna sit there and because I put Tito's in my Rice Krispies because I wanted to put Tito's in my Rice Krispies. Not because I needed to. You understand? So I said, all right, I'm out of here. As I'm pulling away, I have this urge, like, and I'm like, I call my brother Mike Barone. He owns Sierra Lounge in Johnston. And I said, Mike, I need a job bartending. He said, are you nuts? I said, no, I'm dead serious. When can I start? Like, can you train me? I want a bar. This was like right after that. And he goes, all right, come Thursday and start Thursday. So I worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday for a year straight, tending bar, sober. I went right back into the fire. I went back in the Shark Tank. How else am I gonna do it? If I'm gonna run around and put a label on myself, then that makes me vulnerable every time I'm around it. Because I don't even say the word. Yeah. And now it's like, oh, so now you can't go out with your friends and they can't, everybody's like weird about having a drink with you or doing something with you, or you can't go to a bar because there's alcohol there. Some people can't because you keep telling yourself what you are. Reverse the way you think and talk about yourself. Don't talk negatively about yourself.
So you went right into the fire with that.
Yeah.
So where you chose not to drink, you go into an environment full of alcohol. What is that? What makes that about you? If you had to pick one or two things, is it your boxing background? Is it your upbringing? What is that fire, that competition with yourself and everything? What is that?
Anthony, it's a combination of wisdom, experience. I was always a guy that didn't care about how physically tough I was because if I wasn't good here, then what good is all this? So I already knew I got a good left hook. I knew I was strong. I knew what I was physically. I wanted to change the way I was thinking. I wanted to change the habits of me lashing out. I wanted to be softer. I wanted to be a better human. I wanted to be a better human. The only way to be a better human is to do vulnerable work on yourself. Put yourself in a situation where you get vulnerable. How many people, I was in a couple of groups I signed up for through the church. One was a Genesis program. I couldn't even get through the book. I was bawling my eyes out. Tears are hitting my book was all this big from being wet from tears every time I went to fill it out. And because it was like and there was some people in the group that couldn't be transparent. They were hiding behind the facade of being judged or I was like going in and they were like, whoa, oh my, I was going in. That's the only way. Lean not on my own understanding. I know I was a hot mess. I had everything wrong with me. And it wasn't until I cleaned up my life and I got my relationship here that I realized, wow, he'd been with me the whole time. He'd been waiting for me. I always said I was coming. I just didn't know I was coming. So I think the wisdom of life's experience, I did the work. I did the internal work. The one thing I said in my life was I never knew what happiness was. I was never happy. I was never happy, ever. I didn't know what it was. In 1985, 95, when I fought for the New England title, Dan Barry did an article on me at the Providence Journal, and the article said, just to be happy. Because he said to me, this was in 1995, the article on the front page of the Sunday Journal had me like this, and it said, just to be happy. And I could have never found happiness because I had stuff trapped in me that I didn't even know about from childhood.
It's usually what it is.
Yeah. But that's the work, Aunt. When people don't know where to start, go get vulnerable and pull that stuff out of your basement and here. Get it all up and out. Get that stuff out of you. And my situation isn't the best right now either. No matter, I don't think it's ever gonna be. But I seek discomfort. It's messed up, it's weird. I tell people I seek suffering. I seek it. I want to be in suffering situations.
So you're obviously very spiritual, and that's helped you. Well, that's your position now, and it's who you are, right? It's who you are.
It's what we are.
And it's served you well, and you've served it well. At this point, what, if anything, do you fear?
I only fear the Lord. I have fear of nothing and no one, and that's the truth, because what are you gonna do to me? Go ahead and do it. If I'm gonna be prosecuted and if I'm gonna be attacked for speaking truth and transparency, then bring it on.
It's a good place to be. No fear. Or fearing the one right thing.
The world today is scared. They instilled fear in us.
I was gonna say, do you feel like we're in a fear-based world?
I'm not vaccinated. I will never be vaccinated. I've had COVID 4 times. In another year or 2 years, everybody's gonna be able to travel. Everybody's gonna be able to keep their jobs. This isn't gonna be. You understand? They held us down and stuck pins in us. Now I got people I know right now that travel, no vaccine. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not gonna get stuck with things in my. I eat good. I work out. That's, eat some kale, eat some greens. Look up an alkaline diet. You want to get healthy? Follow an alkaline diet. Take care of yourself. Walk a little bit. You can. Last year I went to the doctors. I was bigger. Everybody knows I was heavy. I didn't understand. I had inflammation in my belly because it was always like this, and I didn't know what it was. And then I started Googling stuff because I started getting alopecia in my head, on my beard, and my face, and I'm like, it's just not coming out of the blue. Something's triggering it. So I started trying to figure out how alopecia was coming. I went to dermatologists. They were shooting needle stuff in it, and I'm like, that's the treatment that they give you, just like if you got high blood pressure, they give you a high blood pressure pill. I said, they give you a cholesterol pill if your cholesterol's high. My numbers were outrageous last year. I was on cholesterol, high blood pressure pills. I didn't take them, but doctor gave them to me. I came back this year. I dropped 46 pounds. I was down 46 pounds. My numbers were perfect. All my numbers were, he's like, congratulations, I can tell you did the work. I said, yeah, it took me 7 years to get an appointment to come and see you. If I would have waited that long, I probably wouldn't have been at this place, but I did my own research. I said, Doc, why didn't you just tell me to eat some kale? Why didn't you just say, go eat a good? He said, oh, diet's key, but I mean, you get it? Diet's a key. Meanwhile, he's writing up a prescription to give me high blood pressure pill when he should have sent me home with a bag of kale and some Brussels sprouts, maybe a little garlic and some olive oil. It's inflammation killers. So
what's your diet looking like these days? That could help some people. Tell people what you eat throughout the week.
Well, they say you are what you eat, right? I don't remember eating a sexy beast this morning, so I really don't know what to tell you. That's my diet these days. It's
So you're eating a lot of vegetables.
You're still trying to get it. You're still trying to find out what I got on my palate. I told you, follow the alkaline diet. You know, I eat inflammation fighting foods. You just Google it; it will take you down. And a lot of times, people's gut is the first thing that gets messed up. It's our gut because we don't take care of our guts. Let's face it. And this is responsible for everything. If that shuts down, everything's shutting down on you. You know.
You keep saying that people are drinking the Kool-Aid and times have changed. What do you think that is? I don't think
that they've never been drinking the Kool-Aid. A lot of people are drinking the Kool-Aid. Mr. Kool-Aid, what's that? Hey, Kool-Aid, he crashes through the wall. Right? Who's that guy? A lot of people, but that's because you're in Rhode Island. You know, I don't know how it is anywhere else because I've never lived in another state. But Rhode Island's always been a democratic state. It's always been crooked and corrupt. You heard Crime Town. They had a podcast, a #1 podcast in the country on corruption. It's not changed. It's only gone to the police now. Before it was the mafia that was the corrupt, and the police. Now it's the opposite. The corruption comes from there. You know, what is there, like 3 people left in that stuff? Like, who even knows? Do you know anybody that's... I don't even, like... I don't know, but, you see it every day. And drinking the Kool-Aid is as simple as that. If living in Rhode Island, say you want to run for office, yeah. If you're a real Republican, at heart, truly, you have Republican beliefs and ways, you can't get elected in this state running a Republican. Alan Fung did in Cranston. Alan Fung, he's a good guy. I love Alan. But it's very rare. Like, you have to come from a certain part of, like, Cranston's always been Republican, but you can't run for office in Rhode Island as a Republican. You ain't winning. So what you have to do is you have to put a label. You have to tag yourself something that is what, you want to call it to ease the pain. Is you call yourself a conservative Democrat. Conservative Democrat. So that makes it okay that you're automatically lying, getting elected, going to office, because you're not really a Democrat.
Are there politicians in Rhode Island doing that right now, calling themselves conservative Democrats?
I don't know. Ask around. Ask a politician.
If you know, you can tell us.
Listen, most of them are. Most of them don't have the democratic way. Most of them see it opposite. So they still drink the Kool-Aid. And now once you drink the poison, now you are part of the problem.
Do you consider yourself a Republican?
I don't belong to nothing. Nobody puts a label on me.
But you consider yourself slightly more conservative.
I consider myself here in the middle. If you ran for president and you were a Democrat and I loved you, I'm voting for you. If you ran for president and you were a Republican and I loved him, I'm voting for him. I don't play that. I would walk in a place to vote and people are trying to put stickers on me. I'm not with you. I'm with me.
Love that. Have your political views changed since you were young?
I don't get involved like that. I watch. I see the darkness in it. I see the darkness in the world. Satan's at work. I see it, I watch it. Even more important, we gotta stay under the arm of God and lean on him. Even more today, just because of the way this world is. Yeah, let's face it. It's like mental. It's like a world war ready to go on. There's China and Russia are playing space wars now, and it's a lot of stuff happening. It's a crazy time right now. It's crazy.
It's a lot, definitely.
It's a crazy time right now, and so you know, as much as even if something's done directly to me, okay, I'm not coming out like rolling my sleeves up. I don't do that. I don't come out ready to fight. I don't come out ready to. I just come out with truth. I say the truth. I say what it is. And in the process of saying that, Aunt, I'm not swinging my sword. I'm just holding it up in defense. I'm not striking anybody. I'm just saying right and wrong. And it's there. There's right and wrong. And there's a lot of stuff that happens and goes on in Rhode Island, and it's ugly.
Would you ever want to run for local office?
I could tell you this. There's gonna come a day. I don't know when the time is because right now it's not the time, but there will be a day I run for mayor of Providence. I don't know when. Maybe when I'm 90. I don't know yet, but it's happening. Definitely someday. But you got to make the right. That's a process. You know, one thing I've learned in the battle just to see my children is patience. You understand? Patience. Even when darkness is intervening and trying to make it even worse, right? It's your cubs you're talking about. I don't care who you are. When it comes to my kids and my babies, that's it. And in the eye of that storm, you gotta have patience. That's where growth happens. That's why I might get a white beard. None of my hair is white. I get a beard that came out all white. It's wisdom. It's knowledge to know better. Yeah, I have, yeah. And it's helped me in so many other areas because I'm happy. I'm alone and single and happy too. Huh. How you like those apples? You know, that's the truth. I don't have to have somebody to make me happy. And the reason I'm single is because next time, because I'm not salty about it. But if the love isn't 100% pure, where there's no jealousy, there's no where are you, who's that, getting upset over being who you are. Because then you have to change according to the way that somebody feels that you can't be yourself. You're already on your way out. The minute you have to change the way you move and do things for the sake of someone else's happiness is the start of your demise. Love is love. If it's love, then it's love. Then love don't do that. That's one thing I learned, that I'll never do that, ever. And I don't want it done to me because I want to be me. I want to be all of me. I have a lot of friends in different places, and I don't know if that's ever going to be for someone that can handle that, but I'm okay with it because it's about my peace. I don't mess with that emotional stuff. I keep it, we have enough going on to focus on in here. Anything extra that's gonna put a weight on us, it's like, why? Why would you do that in your life? Who needs that? Keep it away.
What's the most wrong somebody has ever done to you?
I gotta be honest. That's a good question, yeah. What's the most wrong I ever done to somebody is maybe the thing that I wanna say.
Okay.
And I look at it like this. I've done wrong to people. I've hurt people. Okay? Never with a bad intention. I wasn't that type of person. But if it went off, I was dangerous. And I did, and we move and we slide as we go, and I hurt people. And I understand whatever happened to me because of a direct connection to what goes around comes around. And just because it happened to me now, what about everybody? What about all the people you did that to? What about all the people you hurt? So I say, if I could spend the next half of my life lifting people up and helping people, then I'm not saying I'm getting in the gates, but God willing, with again, I don't lean on my own understanding. I give it to Him, and I wanna, if I could help people the rest of my days, then I'm better than I was yesterday. And that's really all I can ask for. I know boxing isn't going to define me. That's only a chapter in my life. My story is not done. I'm not done yet. We got big work to do. We got big work to do, and I got a good solid team to do it with. So.
Do you feel like this is your purpose in life?
Oh yeah.
This work?
Everything is led to this. Crazy, how I wanted to get smart. I wanted to have knowledge. I wanted to work on this interior stuff. It was so important to me that I was like, so if I'm vigilant about something, then I don't get it out of my head. I got armpit tattoos. Look, 4 hours a piece under my arms. Nobody does that. Why did I do it? Because I wanted to challenge myself and see if I could get my armpits tattooed and still not succumb to that. You know where you gotta go? You gotta go in your mind and almost out of your body. I was watching that tattoo from over here. Yeah.
Rough.
Yeah.
That's a rough.
It's a rough one, yeah.
Rough tattoo.
It's a rough, there was some crevices. I know he hit them on purpose just to get me. But those are the things that I put myself through. Because, let's face it, in comfort, there's no growth. There's no growth in comfort, There ain't nothing happening in being comfortable. Harboring Satan's work and emotions when you're comfortable because you got nothing to do, you're bored. Get a hobby.
Jarrod, we got a couple more questions. And one of them's going to be a question that we ask everybody, same question. But before I get to that, can you tell us how much of your father and what took place in his life and your relationship with him has affected you and shaped the places that you've been in life and the places you're in today?
I'm not a victim.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't believe in that stuff. And to me, I just think that, this is the way life happens. Sometimes this is it. This is it. It's the reality, like when someone passes away. If someone, something happens, what's the alternative, man? To be weak and to there's no other option but to go on and fight. Fight another fight, get up. Lift yourself up. Don't lay there. We're gonna get knocked down in life. We're all gonna be in places where we're gonna be on our backs. Don't lay down for nothing. Don't lay down. And then when you don't lay down for nothing because you have that non-lay down mentality, doesn't matter what happened and affected us, because at the end, we're in control of our destiny. But if we lay down and don't get up because life beat us up and it's not fair.
Yeah. Can you tell us one of your happiest memories with each your mother and your father? What's the top one?
I would say when my kids were born.
Might be a little out of there.
Yeah, I would say when my kids were born. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. Would be post prison.
Any in your whole life, your happiest memory of your father, and then your happiest memory of your mother?
I think I was just really, really happy for Dad, just to see him come home for the final time. You know, I was just really like grateful for him. You know, it made me happy that he could experience freedom. You know.
How long was he in prison?
36 years. He's lucky because life then was 20 years. You know, he got in a bunch of trouble, got extra time, but life was 20 years then. You get life today, you know? So yeah, he...
What about your mom? Happiest memory?
Trying to pinpoint which one. I would say my pro debut. She was like, I knocked Jeffrey. Was it? No, not Jeffrey Osborne. I forget the kid's name. I knocked him out in 12 seconds with a left hook. Robert Jones. That's right. And Mom was like, she was happy. Crazy, like, my journey has been crazy. You know, life was designed for me to fail, like most people, and I already know that, you know, I don't like victims. Stop crying. And make it, figure it out. There's always a way. There's always a way. Too many people just give up.
I hear that.
They just give up.
Last question is a question that everybody gets asked the same question. 12-year-old Jarrod sitting right there next to you in that chair. What do you tell him?
I would tell him that the way he treats people along the way in his life will shape him and his character is very important. How you treat people and how you talk to people, and it matters. You know, people know when you're not authentic because you can feel it. And some people are ugly. Some people are ugly. Even if they're older, 70, 80, 60, they got ugly black hearts. Those aren't your people. And I'm okay with that. I stay away. It's okay to be messed up in the head, and we all are. But when you're messed up in your heart, that's what makes you a piece of shit. when you got a bad heart. So I only mess with good hearts. No malice. You can't have malice in your life and want to vendetta and hurt people. Then you're trying to control something. You ain't in control. You ain't in control. I don't care what you have, where you come from, your status, and you're not in control. He is.